You've been at this for 23 weeks. The memory work is deep in your student's head, the timeline cards are memorized, the Latin is drilled, the science sentences are running on autopilot. The heroes won. The journey is over. Can't we just celebrate? Here's something that J.R.R. Tolkien knew, that Peter Jackson decided ultimately to cut. After Frodo destroys the One Ring, after Aragorn is crowned, after the long road home, there is one more chapter of Return of the King. The hobbits return to the Shire, and they find it occupied. Saruman's men have taken over it. The trees are cut. The mill is black with smoke. The Shire, the thing they crossed the whole world to protect, needs saving. And Peter Jackson might have given us the Grey Havens, and it's a beautiful ending, but it wasn't Tolkien's. Tolkien's is a battle at home, a gardener replanting what was cut, and 3 words on the final page that mean everything the preceding 1,000 didn't quite capture. He kept writing past the Grey Havens, all the way up to the end, and what was that final chapter? This is week 24, and the science for this week is about electricity. What units are used to measure electricity? Volts measure voltage, the pressure that pushes current through a circuit. Ohms measure resistance, the opposition the current encounters along the way. Amps measure current, the actual flow rate of charge moving through the wire. And watts measure power, what the circuit is accomplishing right now. The one that matters for the argument is the last one. You can have voltage, you can have current trying to flow, you can have a battery fully charged, a wire ready, resistance and conductors in place. But if the circuit is open, if the path is broken, before the current completes its loop, well, you have 0 watts. Not fewer watts, 0. Anything times 0 is 0. And an open circuit produces no output, regardless of how much potential that it holds. Power requires completion. The current must leave the source, travel the full path, and return. Only when the loop closes do the watts begin. So what's the point this week? Your student has 23 weeks of voltage built up, 23 weeks of memory work charged into the system. Week 24 is our final connection. Leave it open and maybe the circuit produces nothing. All that potential, 0 watts. We're teaching our kids to finish well. The scouring of the Shire is how the hobbits close the loop. They go out and they travel the full path and they come home. The watts flow when they return. Moving on to math, the identity law. The identity law comes in 2 forms. A plus 0 equals A. The number plus 0 returns the number unchanged. A times 1 is A. A number times 1 returns the number unchanged. These seem too obvious to name, and you already know that 5 plus 0 is 5, so why mathematically do we give it a law? It's because the identity element does something subtle. It doesn't change the number, but it confirms it. When you add 0, you've run the number through an operation and come back to itself. When you multiply by 1, you've verified it. The identity element is the operation that proves what's actually there. This is what the scouring of the Shire does to the whole of the Lord of the Rings. The hobbits return to the Shire and have to use what they became. Frodo can't fight anymore. Carrying the ring took that from him. But Merry, Pippin, they lead the charge. Sam replants every tree that Saruman's men cut down. The result is identity, an operation resolved. Sam is Sam. The journey added everything to him and returned him to himself. It confirmed who he was. You couldn't have known it until the final chapter. The identity law has to be performed to mean anything. If you run it and you discover what was there, it's the glory of God. To conceal a matter, to search out a matter, is the glory of kings. 0 and 1 are the concealed matters of mathematics, hiding in plain sight, looking like they contain nothing, holding the key to what everything else actually is. The king who searches them out doesn't find something new, they find what was already confirmed. English this week. The interjection is a word or phrase used to express a feeling or emotion. It stands outside the normal grammar of a sentence. It doesn't connect the subject or verb. It doesn't argue or describe. It simply expresses directly, completely, with no synthetic scaffolding. What the rest of the sentence can't contain, well, I'm back, those are the last 3 words of The Lord of the Rings. Sam Gamgee, after the Grey Havens, after walking Frodo to the ship, after the long road home, opens his door, steps inside, and says it to his family. An interjection, 3 words, and somehow it contains more than the 1,000 pages before it. Tolkien chose this deliberately. He could have ended at the Grey Havens, with Frodo sailing into the west, which is genuinely a beautiful ending. He chose instead to come home with Sam, to give him the door opening, the chair by the fire, and the 3-word interjection that means, I was gone, I traveled far, I did what needed doing, but this is home. Your student is memorizing that definition of an interjection this week, but the thing it names is inexhaustible. Some truths are too complete to fit inside a sentence, and they require words that stand apart. And now for fine arts. Orchestra, the review and celebration of your entire 24 weeks. It's how you celebrate. It's at the end of every concert. The conductor gives the final downbeat. The baton stays up and then decays into silence. Every player watches the baton waiting and nobody moves on. The silence holds. The baton comes down and the celebration begins. The moment, the held baton, the completing silence. It's not separation from celebration. It's the celebration itself. The applause is only possible because the baton came down, and you can't have the ovation without that final beat. You see, your students' week 24 is that held baton. It's the memory work drilled one final time with intention. It's the last note decaying in the hall. We don't want to lower it early. We don't want to come down before the last beat of the symphony. Don't call the silence before our song's complete. If your students in Challenge 2, they've been asking all semester whether Bilbo Baggins meets their definition of a hero. The Scouring of the Shire answers the question for his successors. Frodo couldn't fight by the time they arrived home. Carrying the ring had changed what he was capable of. But Sam could. Sam scoured the Shire with the practicality of a gardener who understood what it takes to make things grow again. Whether Sam is the hero depends entirely on whether you read the last chapter. The parent who says, can't we just celebrate? Well, you put the book down before the final chapter and you won't find out what was actually hidden there. Don't let week 24 be a chapter you tear out of the guide. Carry through with persistence and show your student that what you're doing matters. So wait till the baton falls on that final measure before you celebrate. Don't cut off the orchestra. Show your child that it's with intention we approach this week, just like we did the prior 23. It's time to close the circuit, and we're going to close it well. If you found this helpful, like it, share it, tell a friend exactly what it is that drives you through to the end, to finish with intention, to understand that learning is a lifestyle, and we're to be everyday educators. That's all for this week, and that's all for Cycle 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.